I arrived late on purpose. That's something I learned years ago. When you enter a room already full, you don't have to explain why you're there. You just slide into the shape that's been left for you. The house smelled like brown butter and nutmeg. Shoes were piled near the door, some new, some carefully distressed on purpose. I added mine to the edge of the pile, angled them so the scuffed heel wouldn't be the first thing anyone saw. Old habit, not shame exactly. Just math. People were already seated. My sister waved with the same smile she uses in photos, wide, practiced, slightly delayed. My mother was at the head of the table, already holding court, already warmed by an audience. I kissed cheeks, accepted a glass of wine I didn't ask for, took the chair nearest the end. No one commented on my being late. That was good. Late meant invisible. The shoes stayed on my mind longer than they should have. They weren't fake. They were just old. Real leather, repaired once, polished many times. Bought in a year when money mattered and choices echoed. They'd been with me through 2 jobs, 1 funeral, and a stretch of months when I learned how to make quiet feel like stability. We were halfway through appetizers when my niece noticed them. She was standing on her chair, elbows on the table, face sticky with cranberry sauce. 8 years old, observant in the way children are when they don't yet know which observations are supposed to stay private. She pointed a straight, curious finger. "Grandma says your shoes are fake," she said, loud enough to cut through conversation. Then she tilted her head, considering me the way kids do when they're assembling a puzzle. "Like you." There was a beat, just one. Long enough for the room to inhale. Then laughter. Not mean laughter. That's the important part. The kind that rises automatically, like a reflex. Someone snorted. Someone repeated it. Kids say the funniest things. My sister covered her mouth, half apologetic, half amused. My mother didn't laugh loud, but she smiled. That mattered more. I felt heat climb my neck, settle behind my eyes. My first instinct was to correct her. To explain. To say actually and offer context like it was currency. But I didn't. I took a sip of wine. I looked down at my plate. I said silence can be mistaken for consent. I know that. I also know it can be a boundary if you hold it long enough. Someone redirected the conversation. The moment passed in the way moments always do when they land on the right person. No one apologized. My niece was told, lightly, that maybe we don't point at people. She shrugged and went back to her food. The rest of dinner moved on. Stories. Complaints. The familiar dance of people who know exactly where they rank with each other. I answered when spoken to. I laughed when expected. I didn't mention the shoes again, but something had shifted, not in the room. In me. I've been underestimated most of my adult life. Not aggressively. Gently. As if I were a placeholder for a more serious version of myself that never arrived. The one who didn't marry. The one who moved cities without announcing it. The one who paid quietly when things needed covering. Like the dance lessons. They'd started a year earlier after my sister called crying about how expensive everything was getting. Tuition, costumes, competitions. I liked my niece. I liked watching her spin in videos, hair slicked back, face focused. It felt good to be useful in a way that didn't require emotional negotiation. So I set it up, a recurring payment. $900 every month. Automatic. No reminders. No thank yous required. At some point, it stopped being a gift and became background noise. That's how money works when it's invisible. Dessert came out. Coffee was poured. The shoes stayed on my feet, unmoved, unremarked upon. When I stood to leave, my mother hugged me and said, "Drive safe," in the tone she uses when she's done for the evening. No one mentioned what had been said. Outside, the air was sharp. I sat in my car for a moment before turning the key. I noticed my hands were steady. That surprised me. At home, I kicked off the shoes and lined them up by the door. I didn't throw them. I didn't stare at them. I washed my hands. I changed into something soft, then I opened my laptop. The account loaded slowly, like it always does. Username, password, 2-factor code, familiar motions. The payment sat there, scheduled for the following Tuesday. Amount. Recipient. Purpose. I hovered over it longer than necessary, not because I was unsure, but because I wanted to notice what I felt. It wasn't anger. It wasn't satisfaction. It was clarity. I clicked cancel. A small box popped up. "Are you sure you want to cancel this recurring payment?" There was language about future charges, about reinstating later if needed. I clicked yes. A confirmation screen replaced it. Neutral font. Timestamp. final, the system didn't care why. That was the authority of it. The decision was no longer emotional, it was administrative. I closed the laptop. The first message came 2 days later. Confused. Casual. Hey, weird question, did something happen with the dance payment? I didn't answer. The next one was sharper. They're saying we're behind. Is this a mistake? Then a call. I let it ring. By the end of the week, the tone had changed. Less confusion. More accusation. As if money, once expected, transforms into proof of character when withdrawn. I answered none of it. At no point did anyone mention Thanksgiving. Or the shoes. Or the comment. That silence told me everything I needed to know. When I did see my niece again, weeks later, she was quieter. Not punished, just adjusted. She hugged me the way children do when they sense something has changed but can't name it. I hugged her back. I didn't explain. Lessons like that don't land when they're spoken. The family recalibrated slowly. Invitations came with more care. Jokes were tested before being released. My mother watched me now when she spoke, as if reassessing the weight of her words. Nothing dramatic happened. No confrontation. No speech. Just absence. And consequence. One evening I polished my shoes. It was a small ritual, something I'd neglected. The leather darkened under the cloth, responsive, real. They weren't new. They didn't need to be. Neither did I. I put them back by the door, unhidden. When I wore them again, I didn't adjust my step. I walked as if I belonged where I was going, because I did. The power I held wasn't loud. It didn't announce itself. It didn't punish. It simply stopped paying for laughter that cost me more than money.